Good morning, beautiful people. It's been 5 days. It's day 5 since the beginning of this mental and emotional purging I've been going through. Well, for those of you that didn't see the previous video, it's been just, some people call it illness, but I was thinking the same at the very beginning, but has nothing to do with an illness. Why? It has nothing to do with an illness because I see that the inflammation that is happening in my body, in my chest, my throat, my sinuses, this is all due to emotions and mental patterns. I see it so clearly. Why? Because I'm sensing all those emotions bubbling up, and when I stay with them, when I relax and stay with them, I see that this is why those parts are so inflamed, because the emotion is so strong there and so suppressed, so resisted, that it's kind of blocked from leaving. And this creates specific tension, and it creates, obviously, on a physical level, it creates inflammation. It creates a problem for the body to deal with. And during the first 2-3 days, I was dealing a lot with anger and thoughts of not good enoughness. But now during the last 2 days, especially during this night, it's been just a lot of fear, a lot of fear, a lot of fear, and the feeling of unsafety, the feeling that there's something wrong that can happen, something bad that can happen at any given moment, and that essentially my body is unsafe, And this night, this had never happened to me in the past. But pay close attention, because what I'm sharing may be helpful to you if this has happened but you didn't know how to deal with it, or if this is happening now and you're not sure how to deal with it, or maybe this will happen in the future and you would be able to remember about my words. But this night, one thing on repeat all night long. This had never happened in the past. One thing, one situation, one specific feeling, one specific mental thought pattern on repeat all night, until I chose to let it go. I chose to surrender. It was playing over and over and over again in my mind, and I was feeling it and suffering because I was resisting it, essentially. But towards the end of the suffering, a few hours, maybe 5-6 hours suffering, I just decided, okay, I let it be. I will continue with my life with this. I'm letting it be. I'm not gonna resist it anymore. I'm letting it be, and I'm gonna continue with my life. And surely something will happen to resolve it. Boom. Because in this moment, I surrendered. I just let it go. I just let it be. Literally, those were the words in my mind. Okay, be it like this. I felt it. I allowed the thought to continue and to unravel, to unwind, and there you go. It just dissipated. And I felt relieved, without doing much, just by surrendering. What I noticed is that I had been rejecting it, suppressing it, and resisting it for many years. For many, many years. And those things, they stay in our chests, guys. They stay in our throats. We cannot speak our truth because of that. Because we feel unsafe, scared. Who knows what? We cannot do our best because we feel unsafe. And it's so unconscious, because it's very resisted, it's pushed back on, that it backfires in those situations in which we have to deal with it in extreme ways. Like this, for example, like getting ill. Getting ill, this is not a normal thing, Our body is not meant to be ill. Our body gets ill because there's so much luggage that we're resisting, letting go of, that the body says, okay, I'm gonna deal with it in whatever way I possibly can. So my advice to you guys is, if this is happening to you, or something similar is happening to you, or whatever else that you can relate to is happening to you. Just know, if you just decide to surrender and to let it go, it will just find its way out. It's just that we're resisting those thoughts and emotions. That's the reason why they stay inside our body, because this is where they are. This is where they reside, in our body. As little energies, as little consciousnesses. We've pushed them so much that we've created those little vortexes, little packs of compressed energy, meaning emotions, thoughts, who knows what else, perceptions. And they stay there, and the body just cannot handle it at some point. It's kind of like, okay, you don't want to do it in your way, let me do it in my way. And it starts purging. And if you don't want to purge it, it's going to get worse. But the thing is that we unconsciously will release some anyways. But the more important thing kind of to me is, how much of it are we going to do consciously? Because by releasing those things consciously and consciously letting go and surrendering, detaching, being like, okay, thought, okay, emotion, be as you want to be. I'm me, you're you, and I'm letting you go. I'm not attaching myself to you. And I'm not saying that there has to be a discussion there. I'm not saying there has to be a monologue. This can be done fully in presence, in consciousness, within intention, to see it, to not be afraid of it. Because the moment we really feel it, it's not scary. It's somehow not even hurtful or painful. Any of those very strong emotions, they're very strong when we resist them, and they feel like we cannot get beyond them. But when we really allow them to pop up and we kind of immerse in the sensation, at least to my experience, they lose their potency somehow. It's not that they are not intense, but suddenly they lose the label somehow, the label of bad, good, it's just some sensation, some intensity which is happening. So yeah, my advice, just do your best to let it go. Do your best to see it as it is, and allow yourself to touch it, to feel it. And you'll see that there is nothing to be afraid of. And I know that in most cases, it's actually the story, like the thoughts that are coming, that are attached to this emotion. But if you do your best to stay with the emotion as a little child, stay with the emotion, and try to fondle this little child without listening to stories about the little child. Just look at the little child and feel it. And you'll see that the stories are going to start vanishing on their own as well. And the little child is actually going to feel soothed, and it will be able to cry it out and essentially, metaphorically, leave. Because we will allow it to cry it out and essentially release. So, yeah. Fruit diet, 5 days. Crazy stuff happening there as well. I'm feeling sick from time to time in my stomach. There are non-stop those cravings. I want to eat spaghetti, other sauces, all sorts of stuff, like salty stuff. Junk food, non-stop. There are thoughts throughout the day. There are those thoughts about different foods, and maybe I can eat just a little bit, or maybe it's my personal choice, so why should I listen to anybody and do any fruit diets? And actually, I didn't listen to anybody. It was my idea. So interesting thoughts, huh? Thoughts telling me that I listened to somebody that I shouldn't, but actually it was my idea. So yeah, and I'm paying attention to those, and there is anger that is coming up with this, as if, you're not giving something to this craving, and the craving is fighting back. And this is something very interesting also to observe, because I think that this didn't happen for no reason. And my body really wanted to be prepared for this purging. And in order to be prepared, it needed also to be feeling quite light. Yeah, and not burdened by all sorts of, toxins in the food and heaviness in the food, and, different things that are there and that are not very how to say, not good only for the physical body, but also for the mind. They boggle up the mind. So, yep, guys, stay brave, stay courageous, have faith. Because I was sensing this during the night that I'm here for a reason. Yeah. And if those things are happening to me and in my body and in my mind, and I'm here, that means that I'm here because I can handle them. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. There wouldn't be any sense. But just because I'm here, that means that I can handle it. And just because a part of me knows that I have chosen to go through those things in one way or another. And I'm not claiming that I know anything, but that's what I'm sensing. And I feel that it's true. You know, I know that something is true about this in me, that I've known about this all along. I've known what I'm kind of gonna go through in one way or another. And I know that since I've known, that means that I must have been way, way, way more brave than I can even conceive in my mind now. Way more brave and faithful and courageous and loving than I can possibly think of myself now as this personality. But yeah, those things are coming to an end. Those purgings are here for a reason. And after each purge, we get lighter. And I sense it in myself that there are things that are getting unblocked, unlocked, unraveling, loosening up, you know, being released. And I'm not gonna lie, it's very heavy sometimes, but hey, have faith. Have faith. Since I can, since I can, which is crazy, you can too. And since you can, I know that I can too. So thank you. Stay strong and love.